Human Resources and Insurance. Attendance has been taken. And the first item is to approve the minutes of the February 6th, 2025 meeting. Could I have a motion for that?
I'll make that.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Next is workers' compensation report.
Okay, so we didn't have a meeting last month, so I'm going to give you a couple of months data here. In January, paid out 235,426, and that was down from 301,94 in January of 24. February, we paid out 118,530, and that was down from 363,827 in February of 24. We had 25 new claims in January, up just one from last year. At that time, we had 24 in January 2024. Had 30 new claims in the month of February, and that's down from 39 in 24. As of the end of February, we had 191 open claims. That's up from 160 open claims last year. And as far as overall expenses, as of the end of February, we've expended 17% of the overall budget. That's up from 10% at that time of year last year. Some of that fluctuation in cost has to do with settlements. We continue to utilize the 15A buyout funds that were received from the state in 2021. And to date, a total of 14 claims have been settled and 2 closed due to deceased claimants at an approximate savings of $674,000. We still have roughly $2.35 million left in that fund, and we have 15 claims open that would be eligible for settlement with use of that money. So Wendy continues to plug away at those with PMA. We also, additional report this month, we've had a stewardship review meeting on the 13th of March with PMA, and some highlights from that. We paid out just under $2.6 million for workers' comp benefits in 2024. That was up 9% from the year before, but the reason in large part for that increase, 1.2 million of it was utilized for awards and settlements. So that's basically an investment on the future because that money comes off the books. We achieved a medical savings of just over 1.1 million, which resulted in 72% coming off of total billed charges to the county, and a slight pharmacy savings of just under $18,000. One note that PMA pointed out to us was that our average paid per closed lost time claim is significantly lower than their other clients. We're actually 61% lower than their clients. So that I wanted to point that out because I think it speaks to the efforts that go into educating, our county workforce, educating our towns and municipalities on doing a good job with that. And we also have seen, since we started with PMA, a 36% reduction in open pending claims. So those efforts are definitely paying off. We had our actuarial findings from our outside actuarial review that we do annually come in for projections for this year for 2025. And some highlights from that are incurred but not reported cost projection has gone up by 400,000. To give you a sense of what that number means, in 2023, it was increased by 725,000. In 2022, the increase was 300,000. A large reason for that increase has to do with a small number of PTSD and cancer claims that are very uncertain. We're seeing a little bit more in those areas, unfortunately. So we're not sure, what the increase is going to be on those. We also have a higher average weekly wage as a result of pay increases that came out of our recent collective bargaining efforts, and that also impacts that number. Our total claim reserves have gone down by $1.2 million. Again, settlements, our Section 32 settlements are helping to achieve lower costs and savings when it comes to those types of settlements. Our 2024 reported medical and expense losses total 473,000 at the end of the year, and that's slightly lower. We've seen that going down, not a ton, but progressively. So that's good. We're going in the right direction there. And again, in large part, that is because I think of the focus that we've placed on education and training, working with PMA and working with Wendy. So, want to make sure I recognize her for that, because she plugs away at that. Sends you that stuff on a regular basis, so it doesn't go unnoticed. You can see the results here. So,
Any questions? Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you.
All right, next on our agenda, I'll turn over to our county administrator for 5.
All right, thank you, Chairman. First item will cover authorizing a pollution liability policy through Liberty Surplus Insurance Corporation and amending the budget. So what this is a pollution liability policy to cover any liability from underground tanks. Last year, when we were doing the project for the new gas tanks out at the DPW facility, it was recommended that we, reviewing everything, it was recommended that we add this coverage. We did. The board voted on that last year. We're bringing it forward now again for a renewal, and we're doing it this month to line up with our overall insurance policy, which we'll cover next. So it's the premium on it is $5,345. There's a $1 million deductible. So this is only for something that is really bad, and that's why we have this coverage. We don't anticipate anything like this, but it's just given that we have 22 buildings and properties with county facilities, we just want to be make sure we get this covered. So we need a resolution to authorize that.
Hey, Steve, real quick, I don't mean to interrupt, and I apologize.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. The coverage is $1 million.
Yeah.
Okay, and deductible, I believe, is 100,000.
Oh, okay. I misread it because it
No problem.
said $1 million here. I'm sorry. Thank you. Yeah.
We like that one better.
Yeah.
Much better.
One mistake.
All right.
That's good. That's good. I like that.
All right, do we have a motion on that while it's hot?
So
I'll say. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion's carried.
All right, next one. Now for the big one, authorizing the county's insurance coverage through May 8th, 2026, and amending the 25 county budget in relation thereto. So once again, over the last few months, we've been working with our agents, Dominic and Gallagher, going through our entire insurance coverage. I know some of this should be, this whole document, I believe, is in your on your screen if you want to get into it. But the highlights are this. Basically, as expected, our our premium cost is going up this year. It's about a 10.8% increase. We're going from 1.39 to $1.54 million in coverage. The last couple of years, and I was talking about this with the chairman earlier, our increases have been very small. And we've kind of been saying to ourselves, great, but we knew that there was going to be a bump coming. This year we're getting the bump. So I don't know what you're all seeing at your municipalities, you're facing the same things, but for us, we went through this in detail. Dominic did a great job. And I also want to thank Riley Flint from my team, who's now handling this, but also with the assistance of Matt Rose, who was helping out a lot. So if it's okay, Chairman, I'd like to invite Dominic up just to cover any of the highlights and answer any questions that the board may have.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Everybody, great afternoon. Bring up to speed with insurance. As was mentioned, whether you're a supervisor of a town or village, everybody here has an agent of their liking. And basically, what we've seen in the marketplace, what you've been told, over this past year, past few years, especially in towns or villages, your rates, increasing. I heard you mention you had a decrease. Well, that's good to hear. But anyways, long and short of it, we're seeing basically on small villages and towns, 7, 10%, 15% if you have claim issues. So 7 to 10% is pretty much the norm of what we're seeing. If if you're doing better than that, then God bless. But we're not seeing massive savings. We're seeing still the market's a little tight and increases. Carriers that you're seeing, you'll be familiar with Selective, NYMER, of course, Travelers has the county. You got ACC, and you got Trident. Trident Insurance Company basically is back in the market this past couple of years. They used to handle the county's insurance many years ago. And I'm always a little leery. I don't want to say this because you guys, somebody might have Trident. I place business with Trident. I'm a good carrier, okay? But I'm always a little leery with Trident. They come in, they go out. They come in, they go out. And it really, sometimes that makes me a little hesitant on placing business there. But they are coming in pretty hot on villages and towns, and their premiums are extremely competitive. Let your agents know, okay? There could be a savings there, or it could be a challenge to your current carrier. With that said, obviously here for the county of Saratoga. As Steve said, past couple years, a little bumpy claim wise. Okay. But when we look at the overall premium, last year, 1.3 and change. I use NYMER. NYMER is a great carrier. I do a lot of business with that company. They're a bellwether for me in sense of testing the markets. NYMER came in last year. We put it out to bid, and they're about 200 grand high overall against Travelers. Across the board, NYMER this year was looking at about 9%. Properties a rate, GL's a rate, but overall they're looking at about 9% rate increase. So I just did easy math. You take the 1.5, do the 10%, it brings you up to about 1.7 and that change. So a sense of looking, to go out again this year after we did it last year, just to make, fiscal sense, responsible sense, and carriers don't want to see the county of Saratoga every year. Okay, so we kind of pulled back on that idea because they were a competitor, but for the county, but they just couldn't get the mark last year. And the numbers came in from travel this year weren't that awful comparatively to what we saw in the sense of claim side. Overall, from property down to drone, you had basically exposure changes. Okay, exposure changes are increase in vehicles, increase in property values, equipment went down, employee count, etc. We had quite a bit of exposure change in the sense of exposures are up. Okay, obviously exposures are up. You got your rate increase, exposures are up, then you get a net rate. Okay. And I did really quick math, and I don't want to bore you with this, but the quick math, if I took out all the exposures, your actual net rate increase was about a 6.48%. Okay, so you're not doing bad. You're doing actually pretty good. Okay, when it comes to the premium size exposure against the actual premium increase. But with that said, as I told Steve yesterday, it doesn't matter. It's basically the bottom line. The bottom line is a 1.5 figure. Okay, and that's what's obviously going into the budgetary numbers. All right, so good renewal, a couple bumps, but overall, I'm pretty pleased with the turnout this year. Now I could, peel back the onion as far as you want in the sense of questions. Be more than happy to address any questions, concerns that anybody may have.
I think we're all seeing it, especially. I mean, I know we've seen it. It's about half of increases, so yeah, it's not unexpected. This is Travelers has been good to us, so yeah, it's something we should move forward. Is there a motion?
I'll do that.
For a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Appreciate everybody. I will tell you this on a sidebar. It's great to insure the county of Saratoga. And Travelers would say the same. Thank you.
The other business before this committee? Motion to adjourn, Mr. B.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Have a good afternoon.